You're now tuned in to the Real Money Coach broadcast with host Tony Jackson, author of the book Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money. Get ready for winning tips and strategies to effectively manage your finances and learn the key principles of protecting and dominating your money. Now, here's author and host Tony Jackson.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Real Money Coach show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station. I am so glad that you are with me this morning. I have an awesome show for you, and I think each show is awesome, and it's not awesome because of me, but it's awesome because you're up and listening, and it's awesome because we have marvelous guests that come on the show, and I'm just very thankful to the Lord just for sending people, to the show, that can share and encourage, and we can find inspiration and all those good things. This is the holiday weekend, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited because I'll be going to get my granddaughter. My wife's birthday is coming up this week, and so a lot of great things happening. And speaking of things happening, last weekend I was in Nashville, or Murfreesboro in particular, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville. Had the opportunity to preach and speak at First Baptist Church of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. The pastor, Reverend James McCarroll, will be my special guest here in a few minutes. But one of the things I talked about, the title of my sermon was actually Name, Image, and Likeness. And what I want to share with you from a financial standpoint is this shift that's happening in this world of sports, particularly college sports, where now athletes get to be paid for their name, image, and likeness. And for years, really until 2019, the NCAA rules were that they could not receive any compensation. So when I take a look at places like U of M, the Big House, and those of you who know me know I'm a big Michigan fan, particularly football. But you're talking about over 107,000 people in that stadium on a Saturday afternoon. And when I look at the average ticket price of a Power 5 school, it's $175 per ticket. That's over $17 million on a Saturday afternoon for one stadium. And that doesn't count all the other stadiums that are across the country during football season. And we know basketball stadiums and some others are smaller venues, maybe don't cost as much. But the point is that that's a lot of money that the universities are making. That's a lot of money from sponsorships, whether it's Jumpman, Jordan, Adidas, or whoever it may be, the concessions, the parking, all those things. That's big money. And I thought it was really unfortunate that these kids that were the ones that people were coming to see play. I mean, you take Michigan, people are not coming to see Jim Harbaugh play. He's the head coach. People are not going to Alabama to see Nick Saban coach, right? They're coming to see these student athletes that are on the field that are really kind of risking their life for injury and all these type of things. And to say to them that their only compensation is to get tuition, free tuition, room and board. That's it. And I kind of thought that was like, modern day slavery almost, because they're bringing in millions of dollars for the institutions and et cetera, but they're only getting this small piece and could not benefit from their name being used, image or likeness. And this shifted all that. And so, but my concern is that the shift is so large that it's crazy, because now they're making really millions of dollars for their name, image, and likeness. Number one on the list is a high school 17-year-old guy named Bronny James. His NIL valuation is $7.5 million. Wow. That's a lot of money for a 17-year-old. And then I saw here just yesterday or the other day that a 9-year-old football player in LA signed a 6-figure NIL deal, 9 years old, and he's going to make at least $100,000 because of his name, image, and likeness. It's a bit concerning to me. I'm glad we shifted that these kids can get paid, but I just want to make sure, and my prayer is that they make good use of these finances and opportunities. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back with this wonderful interview from my friend, Reverend James McCarroll. You're listening to The Real Money Coach Show.
Never forget what you've done for me. I'll never forget how you set me free. You paid the price and your life. I'll never forget what you've done for me. I'll never forget what you've done for me. I'll never forget how you made a way. I'll never forget how you took my place. You paid the price and your life. I'll never forget what you've done for me. I'll never forget what you've done for me. I'll never forget how you brought me out. I'll never forget how you canceled all of my doubts. So I owe the praise. I'll never forget what you've done for me. I'll never forget what you've done for me.
This is Tony Jackson, the Real Money Coach. I use my deep understanding of personal financial principles and 25 years of experience to educate my clients and empower them to make informed financial decisions. I dive into the emotional and psychological aspects of money to help them uncover their own beliefs and behavior. I provide practical strategies through personalized coaching to overcome financial challenges, build wealth, and achieve financial goals. To schedule your complimentary session with me, go to therealmoneycoach.com. I'm Tony Jackson. I'm the Real Money Coach.
Hey, Grace family, join author Tony Jackson for the Real Money Coach broadcast each and every Saturday morning from 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Praise 100.9. Mr. Jackson enlightens you on the real secrets of money. He'll also help you increase, protect, and dominate your money. You can also catch Tony Jackson's The Real Money Coach every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live and YouTube. Check out The Real Money Coach, Mr. Tony Jackson, every Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Praise 100.9.
And welcome back to the Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host, Tony Jackson.
Welcome back to the Real Money Coach Show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station. And as I mentioned to you each week, this is also available on podcasts. All of the podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. It's available in all of those platforms. And as I also mentioned to you in the first part of the show, I have my friend, Pastor James McCarroll, on the line all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. I had such a great time at his church last weekend. Hospitality was unmatched. And so, Pastor Carroll, how you doing this morning?
Man, I'm doing well, my brother. How about you?
I'm doing well, man. I just want to thank you once again, you and the people, the hospitality committee of First Baptist Church, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, setting the standard in hospitality, man. My wife and I, we still talk about what a great weekend we had with you and the people of God there. But before I get into some of the things I really want to talk about in terms of like your vision for the church, I just wanted you to just share for a few minutes to our listeners, who is the Reverend Pastor James McCarroll. Tell us a little bit about you and your background and how you got to where you are now.
Sure. So I'm a Nashville native. Name is again James McCarroll. I serve as the senior pastor at First Baptist Church in the beautiful city of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It's pretty simple, man. Born and raised again in Nashville, went to Tennessee State undergrad, went to Colgate Rochester Crozer in Rochester, New York, for graduate school to get my Master's of Divinity, then went to LSU to get the Master's in Business Administration. And so I'm an author of over 13 books, or 13 books. I am a music producer. I have a graphic design company, and I do book publishing for other authors. And so that's kind of a snapshot. But at the core, I'm a servant. I gravitate to three primary areas of need. One is leadership. The other is creative concepts. And then the third is healthy living. So whether that health is financial, mental, emotional, physical, just really getting people to a place where they can be in a position to live out their purpose, live out their destiny without the burden of the lack of health being over them.
Man, that's pretty awesome. And you know, I just think about even that MDiv degree, man, people don't realize it is not just a master's degree. I mean, you're talking MDiv, you're talking about 96 credit hours. It ain't a 30-hour master's program. That's a deep dive. And then you got the MBA to go with it. You're talking about ministry in the marketplace. Come on, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What I noticed was this, man, that most MDivs don't teach leadership. They don't teach business. They don't teach business strategy. They don't teach simple elements of leadership, marketing, business organizational behavior. They don't teach that. And so what happens is you get all of this theology or sociology or psychology, then they stick you in a place that's technically a business. And they've trained you in no business concepts. So you can preach, and you can do Bible study, even visit the sick. But many of the clergy struggle in the areas of leadership, and specifically organizational leadership. And so I went back to get the master's, literally to go back and teach pastors organizational leadership.
Well, man, that's so important in, organizational leadership. And you said something right there, bro, because, often we want to act like the church is not a business. But a church is a business, right? We're in the business of spreading the gospel, but it is a business, and leadership and leadership development is huge in that process. And so, man, that's I hats off to you, man. And then everything else you're doing with the book publishing, I didn't know about the graphic design. That makes sense too, based on the things that I saw there in the church and the T-shirts and all that. Wow, man, that's pretty awesome. So you're a pastorpreneur, right? You're a pastorpreneur.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I love it. So, and how long have you been there at First Baptist?
17 years. This year makes 17 years.
Wow. And I know that time goes by really, really fast, because the time just spending, especially when you're doing something you love and you're serving the people as you do, and doing just great work there in Murfreesboro, and it's a reflection. I just want to say that it's reflected in the people of the church, because everyone is so friendly, everyone is welcoming, and I say that quite often. That comes from the head down, right? That doesn't come from the bottom up. That comes from the head down, and that's a reflection of who you are. And so how did you get into the publishing? And I know you wrote the books and that type of thing. So how did you get into that piece of it?
So I wrote a book, the National Baptist Convention, which, most Baptist churches are autonomous. So the National Convention really doesn't have like a sovereign or ecclesiastical leadership piece, but there was no consistent model for ordaining or licensing ministers. And so a buddy of mine who's going to be with the Lord now, we came together and wrote a book on how to license and how to ordain ministers. We pitched it to the publishing house, and after short negotiations, I decided it would be a better call to just self-publish it. And so I went through the process of self-publishing, and with the graphic design background, it was a little bit easier, but that's what kicked it off, man. And so I made the one book into two books, and from the resources from those books, began to understand more about publishing and just picked it up and realized if I had trouble with it, there are probably a lot of others who do. So let me make it easier and less expensive for those who really have thoughts and want to get into print and into their communities.
Well, that's pretty awesome, because I know I talked to a few people there at the church, and they're saying that, I'm in the process of writing my book and that type of thing. And if we want to get some knowledge out and we want to do some things, man, we need to put it in a book. That book, those books will live forever. And as you're helping people realize their dreams in writing their own books. So listen, we're going to take a quick break here for a little bit of music, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk to Pastor Carroll about his vision for a debt-free and a home-owning church 100%. You're listening to the Real Money Coach Show here on Praise 100.9.
Hallelujah. My Redeemer, sent to a rugged cross, my Savior, bared my sins, my replacement, took my place, my provider, now I have. Come on, my Redeemer, sent to a rugged cross, my Savior, bared my sins, my replacement, took my place, my provider, now I have. Just to know it. Just to know Him. Jesus. Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. Just to know Him. Just to know Him. Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. Risen Savior. Rose from the dead, so I could rise again. Awesome ruler, crucified, just to call me hope of glory. One day I will get to see His face. I am grateful. He loved me enough to gladly take my place. Just to know Him. Just to know Him. Woo! Just to know Him. Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. Just to know Him. Just to know Him. Just to know Him. Jesus. Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. Oh. Cares for me. Cares for me. Oh, how He cares for you. Cares for me. Cares for me. Oh.
This is Tony Jackson, the Real Money Coach. I use my deep understanding of personal financial principles and 25 years of experience to educate my clients and empower them to make informed financial decisions. I dive into the emotional and psychological aspects of money to help them uncover their own beliefs and behavior. I provide practical strategies through personalized coaching to overcome financial challenges, build wealth, and achieve financial goals. To schedule your complimentary session with me, go to therealmoneycoach.com. I'm Tony Jackson. I'm the Real Money Coach.
Hey, Grace family, join author Tony Jackson for the Real Money Coach broadcast each and every Saturday morning from 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Praise 100.9. Mr. Jackson enlightens you on the real secrets of money. He'll also help you increase, protect, and dominate your money. You can also catch Tony Jackson's The Real Money Coach every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live and YouTube. Check out The Real Money Coach, Mr. Tony Jackson, every Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Praise 100.9.
And welcome back to the Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host, Tony Jackson.
Well, welcome back to the Real Money Coach show here on Praise 100.9, Charlotte's Inspiration Station. I have my friend, I just labeled him the pastorpreneur. He is the Reverend James McCarroll, senior pastor of First Baptist Church, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Pastor, I had a great time there at worship service, man. Thank you for the opportunity to stand before your people and proclaim the gospel and all that good stuff, man. But you're doing some things there that I think are so remarkable. Even the guests that I have that came said, man, we like that pastor's vision. We like what he's doing. And the first one I want to talk about is the vision that every member be a homeowner. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So I grew up with a mother who didn't have much, but her father gave her one prevailing principle, and it was, if you don't own anything else, own land. And though she didn't have much, she understood that she could create a legacy just by raising her children in a home. The stability of it, the standard setting of it, all of those factors that come with home ownership that have been proven statistically, were able to be not only absorbed by us, but transferred into us and through us. And so I'm a homeowner because I was raised in a home. In Murfreesboro, we've seen a large spike in rental properties. We've seen a large spike in the income bracket, but everyone doesn't benefit from that, or the income, the annual income, but everyone doesn't benefit from that. So what we began to see was a lot of our parishioners were living in apartments just because of the cost of living. Mm-hmm. And so as I began to sit before the Lord, he said, look, I want them to own homes. He shared it with me. I shared it with the people, and we're working toward it now. So our goal is to make sure we have 100% homeowners in our congregation. And so whether that's a town home or whether that's a standalone home, a single family home, we want to make sure that they're homeowners. And so we'll work in the next 5 years, so that 5 years from now, when I come back on the show, I'll be able to give you the details of how it happened. But that's the goal, is to make sure those children are raised in the same standard, the same stable environment of a home that I was raised in, and therefore see it as part of their legacy and part of their lives.
Well, man, you ain't going to have to come back to the show. The show going to come to you. We going to celebrate that. But, you know, man, it's so important because, you know, statistics show that our Caucasian brothers and sisters own homes at, you know, over 70% home ownership, you know, 72%, 73%, somewhere in there. But yet in the African-American community, our home ownership is down in the mid 40s in terms of percentage of ownership. And, you know, working in this area of wealth, we know that many times, most of the time, our wealth is really quite a bit tied into our home. When you own a home, then it gives you access to other things. I mean, and so that's what's unfortunate about things like the GI Bill that they didn't make available to the African American soldiers when they came on in order to own a home and those types of things that have created this racial wealth gap that exists not only just in terms of African American and Caucasian, but even male, female, and a number of different demographics. So I think that's pretty powerful. And I do agree with you that I grew up in a home that was owned. My dad built that house with his hands, right?
Wow.
And he did everything, you know, every drywall, every piece of drywall that was put up, he did that. And there's a certain pride for a child to get off the school bus and be walking into a home that they own.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother, and they probably don't even sense it, but it's a whole different thing when there's a roof over your head that is owned by your parents or owned by you. That's a whole nother feeling.
And, you know, like you said, man, it's not by accident that we're not at the same level of home ownership. It's everything from targeted marketing to even down to pay levels.
Yep.
All of these things work against our home ownership. And so the theory is if the system around us is intentional about keeping us out of home, we as the church who have the latitude have to become just as intentional about making sure people own homes. And so because you have a space of cooperative economics, you can take the funds that you may have used to have the church bazaar and say, okay, we're going to put this toward a project that will actually tangibly benefit the lives of people. And then you create the partnerships and so on and so forth. But it's all about intentionality. And I think the church has to step in and sometimes be a surrogate visionary for people who never saw themselves as homeowners. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
And to be able to say, look, you can't see it, but we can see it for you and we'll help you see it. I think one thing you mentioned, you did an amazing job Sunday. So thank you again for coming. But one of the things you talked about was just this concept of who you have to become on the way to becoming a homeowner. Mm-hmm. And all of the shifts that have to happen with how you handle debt, how you get into debt, how you become a steward of your finances. Like all of those things are the real goal, because you have to create a home owner, not a home buyer.
Woo!
There's a difference between the two. And so I think once people get the mindset of a person who's a home owner, which means that all the dynamics that go with that, the micronutrients, if you will, that go with that process, become intrinsic and essential to who they are. Now, even if someone takes their home, it's so much in them that they will go like your dad and say, you give me enough lumber and enough drywall, I'll make this happen.
I'll make it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? If we can get our children to be in the same position you were in and see that, it changes the nature of the generations after us. Personally.
Man, we don't have enough time to unpack this, but in the next 60 seconds, the other thing that you're doing, and I'm going to be involved in this, is talk about the debt-free. I mean, we got about 60 seconds left, but if you could just touch on why a debt-free church.
Imagine what would happen if our luxury income doubled or tripled. So instead of being able to buy one chicken sandwich, you could buy 5. Well, let's translate it into something more profitable or more beneficial. Instead of being able to buy one stock, you can buy 5. Instead of being able to donate to one child going to college, you could donate to 5. Instead of supporting one mission child in Africa, you could support 5. Now what it means is that no longer do I give my missionary work over to Chase. I get to give it to the person that God ordained for it to have it. And so that's all it means. It means that we just are able to shift the resources in a different direction that serve the kingdom's purposes instead of the card agency's purpose.
Man, that's pretty awesome. Listen, let me tell you something, everybody, TRMC family that's listening. You will get more of this because we are starting a debt elimination program at First Baptist Church in Murfreesboro. You will hear more about it. You'll hear more about it on the live. If I can get Pastor McCarroll to come back on as we get closer to that event or during it, and also onto our live show. Listen, it is 4th of July weekend. It is my wife's birthday, so we're going to celebrate her birthday. I ain't going to tell y'all how old she is. I ain't getting myself in no trouble now on the radio. But I want everyone to have a good, safe weekend. Enjoy your 4th of July. And remember to tune back in here next Saturday for the Real Money Coach show here on Praise 100.9. Y'all be safe.
We hope you've enjoyed the Real Money Coach broadcast with author and host Tony Jackson. We encourage you to utilize today's strategies and principles to manage your money in the most effective and winning way. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to send us an email, TonyJacksonAgency@gmail.com, or you can reach us on all social media platforms. And if you would like a copy of Tony Jackson's book, Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money, log on to www.therealmoneycoach.com. Until next week's empowering broadcast, God bless.